Hello and welcome to Tiny English Tips, the place where you improve your English effortlessly while discovering powerful and meaningful Bible stories. Are you tired of traditional language learning methods? Do you want to learn English in a fun, natural way? Here, we don't just teach English, we bring it to life through storytelling. By listening to engaging stories, you'll pick up new vocabulary, sentence structures, and expressions without even realizing it. Today, we're diving into an exciting and slightly humorous Bible story, Jonah and the Great Fish. This story is packed with action, lessons about obedience, and a surprising twist involving a giant sea creature. Ready? Let's go! Jonah and the Great Fish, Book of Jonah, chapters 1 to 3. Jonah was a prophet, but unlike most prophets who obeyed God's commands, Jonah had a, let's say, rebellious streak. One day, God gave him a clear mission. Go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because its wickedness has come up before me. Sounds simple, right? But Jonah had zero interest in going to Nineveh. Why? Because Nineveh was the capital of Assyria, Israel's enemy. Jonah knew that if he preached to them and they repented, God would forgive them. And honestly? Jonah didn't want them to be forgiven, he wanted them punished. So, instead of obeying, Jonah did what any stubborn person would do, he ran. He boarded a ship heading in the opposite direction, trying to escape God's command. But here's the thing, you can't outrun God. While Jonah was sailing away, God sent a violent storm. The waves crashed against the ship, the winds roared, and the sailors panicked. They started throwing cargo overboard to lighten the load, but the storm only got worse. Finally, they cast lots to see whose fault this was, and guess what? The lot fell on Jonah. The sailors turned to him, "Who are you? What have you done?" Jonah confessed, "I am a Hebrew, and I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the dry land." The sailors were terrified. What should we do to make the storm stop? Jonah knew he was the problem, so he gave them a simple, but dramatic, solution: throw me into the sea. At first, the sailors didn't want to do it. But as the storm got worse, they had no choice. They tossed Jonah into the raging waters, and instantly, the storm stopped. Now, you might think this is the end of Jonah's story, he disobeyed, and now he's gone, right? Nope. Because God had prepared something very special for Jonah. A giant fish swallowed him whole. Jonah found himself inside the belly of this great fish, sitting in total darkness, surrounded by water, seaweed, and who knows what else. 3 days and 3 nights he stayed there, having plenty of time to think about his life choices. Finally, Jonah prayed. He repented and promised to obey God. And then, the fish spat him out onto dry land. Gross? Yes. Effective? Absolutely. This time, when God told Jonah to go to Nineveh, guess what? He went. He preached that the city had 40 days to repent before judgment came. And to Jonah's surprise and disappointment, the people actually listened. They fasted, they prayed, and they turned away from their evil ways. And just as Jonah had feared, God forgave them. Jonah, still stubborn, pouted. He sat outside the city, sulking because God had shown mercy. And God, in his wisdom, used a plant to teach Jonah a final lesson about compassion. What can we learn from Jonah's story? Jonah's story is a reminder that we can't run from God. No matter how far we try to escape, God always has a way of bringing us back to where we need to be, even if it means using a storm, a ship, and a giant fish. It also teaches us about mercy. Jonah wanted Nineveh to be destroyed, but God's love extends even to those we consider our enemies. His forgiveness is bigger than our grudges. So, what about you? Are there things in your life that you've been running from? Maybe it's time to stop, listen, and follow where God is leading you, before He sends a big fish to get your attention. What do you think about Jonah's story? Let me know in the comments. Now it's your turn. Practice your English reflexes. Great! Now that you've heard the story of Jonah, it's time to practice your English speaking skills. The best way to become fluent is by thinking in English and responding quickly, just like in real conversations. Here's how it works. I'll ask you simple questions about the story. Your job? Answer as quickly as possible. The goal is not to be perfect, just respond. The more you practice, the faster your English reflexes will become. Are you ready? Let's go. What did God tell Jonah? Go to the great city of Nineveh. Who was told to go to Nineveh? Jonah. Did Jonah want to go to Nineveh? No, he tried to escape. Where did Jonah try to go instead? To Tarshish. How did Jonah try to escape? He got on a ship. What happened while Jonah was on the ship? A great storm came. How did the sailors react to the storm? They were afraid and started throwing cargo into the sea. How did they find out Jonah was the problem? They cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. What did Jonah tell the sailors to do? Throw him into the sea. What happened when they threw Jonah into the water? The storm stopped immediately. What swallowed Jonah? A great fish. How long was Jonah inside the fish? 3 days and 3 nights. What did Jonah do inside the fish? He prayed to God. What did the fish do after 3 days? It spat Jonah out onto dry land. What did Jonah do after he was freed? He went to Nineveh and preached. How did the people of Nineveh respond? They repented and turned to God. Was Jonah happy about this? No, he was upset. What did God use to teach Jonah a lesson? A plant that gave him shade. What happened to the plant? God sent a worm to destroy it. What was the lesson God taught Jonah? God cares for all people, even those Jonah didn't like. Great job! The more you practice like this, the faster your English will improve. Did you answer quickly? If not, try again and challenge yourself to respond faster each time. Let me know in the comments, what was your favorite part of Jonah's story? And before we wrap up this video, I want to share 5 powerful tips to help you improve your English listening skills faster and more effectively. If you struggle to understand native speakers or feel lost when listening to English, don't worry, you're not alone. Learning to listen is like training a muscle. The more you practice the right way, the stronger your skills become. So let's get into it. Tip number 1, listen to English every day, even if you don't understand everything. The biggest mistake English learners make? They only listen when they're studying. But think about how babies learn their first language. They don't study grammar rules, they just listen all the time. So, expose yourself to English daily. It doesn't matter if you understand every word, your brain will slowly start recognizing patterns, words, and sounds. Here's what you can do. Listen to Bible stories, podcasts, or YouTube videos in English while doing everyday activities, cleaning, driving, exercising. Play English audio in the background even when you're not actively listening. The goal is simple, make English a natural part of your day. Tip number 2, use active listening, don't just hear, engage. Most people listen passively, they just let the words flow in and out without focusing. But if you want to improve fast, you need to practice active listening. Here's how. Repeat key phrases aloud after hearing them, shadowing technique. Pause the video and try to predict what will be said next. Answer simple questions about what you just heard, like we did earlier with Jonah's story. By engaging with the content, you'll train your brain to process English more effectively. Tip number 3, slow down the audio, but not too much. Many English learners get frustrated because native speakers talk too fast. But did you know you can control the speed? On YouTube, Spotify, and most podcast apps, you can slow down the playback speed, try 0.75x. This helps you hear words more clearly without losing natural pronunciation. However, don't rely on slow speed forever. Once you get comfortable, gradually return to normal speed, or even challenge yourself with 1.25x speed. This will push your brain to process English faster. Tip number 4, listen to one thing many times, not many things once. Many learners think they need to listen to new content every day. But repetition is the secret to deep learning. Instead of listening to many different things once, try this method. Day 1, listen to a short audio, 1 to 2 minutes, without subtitles. Day 2, listen again with subtitles and check new words. Day 3, listen again, but this time repeat key phrases aloud. Day 4, listen without subtitles and see how much you understand. By repeating one piece of content several times, you'll start recognizing words effortlessly. Tip number 5, read and listen at the same time. If you struggle to catch words when listening, here's a trick: combine listening with reading. Watch videos with subtitles, first in English, then try without. Read along with an audiobook while listening to the narrator. Use bilingual subtitles to compare your language with English. This method helps connect sounds to words, making listening much easier over time. Final words: keep going and stay consistent. Remember, improving your listening skills doesn't happen overnight. But if you listen daily, engage actively, and repeat content, you will see progress. And hey, if you enjoyed this lesson and want more fun, engaging ways to learn English, make sure to subscribe to Tiny English Tips. We post new videos every week to help you improve your English naturally, through stories, conversations, and powerful learning techniques. So hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments, which tip will you try first? See you in the next video.